but John Wall traded to the Houston Rockets for Russell Westbrook. It was a first round pick that was included with the John Wall package. Shake.
Yo.
It's good.
What's up, Bank?
Hey.
Dumb trade. Absolutely. So technically, Washington just got two shooting guards.
All right, let me ask you this: what was dumber, this trade or the trade they did for Arizona?
No. This is by far the dumbest trade.
Yes,
because
especially when you include a first round pick into it.
Right, you include it, and I feel like it's more disrespectful towards John Wall than anybody.
What do you mean? Russell Westbrook is the MVP in this trade.
That dude is overrated.
Listen, Russell Westbrook does not make anybody on the court better,
and that is a fact of life.
Yeah, he does not make. John Wall makes people better.
Not to mention, Washington wasn't a piece away from winning anything.
Right.
His whole career, basically.
When John Wall was healthy, the Washington Wizards, we all know the Washington Wizards was nothing to play with when he was healthy. Because it wasn't nothing like when John Wall and Bradley Beal finally figured it out.
Right.
And they were able to coexist with one another. And it was like, here it comes. And then Bradley Beal went down. Okay, and then when Bradley Beal comes back, here it comes. John Wall goes down. So, I mean, we never really got to see them two. And it's sad because we're probably never going to see it because John Wall is not. I wouldn't be surprised if Bradley Beal demands a trade off Washington as well because I don't see him envisioning playing with Westbrook for too long and having fun doing that. No.
Well,
no way.
From what I understand, it seems like most top tier athletes that play with Russell Westbrook at some point no longer want to play with Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah.
I don't see how this trade makes anybody better. I feel like
I think it's going to make the Rockets better because John Wall is going to defer to Harden.
Yeah, he will
defer to Harden. Why?
I mean, yeah, he will because
he's probably a better defender too.
Absolutely.
But then like James Harden's usage is off the charts with Russell Westbrook on the team already. So you take Russell Westbrook out the picture and you add in John Wall, who's definitely going to be less ball dominant than Russell Westbrook is. I really don't see this doing anything particularly good for either franchise, to be honest. Like, this is one of them trades where I'm just like,
how can they coexist with one another?
Yeah,
on both sides of the spectrum. But I was just thinking, that Scott Brooks, his history with Russell Westbrook down in OKC is probably what was probably the reason behind this actual trade, him trading him to Washington. So
yeah, I mean
good stuff.
That could be it, but I mean honestly, what do you hope to do with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal and what Davis Bertans? Like what?
I don't know what they're planning to accomplish with that. I don't.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. When John Wall was down, Bradley Beal was the guy. He was the point guard and their main scorer. So when you add a Russell Westbrook, was he shooting like 32% from the 3-point line?
It's only getting worse too.
And like 44% from the field.
It's only getting worse.
Yeah, it's only getting worse, and he's getting older too, where it's going to come to a point where he's not going to be able to maintain that level of intensity.
Yeah, I mean, really, what? Russell Westbrook is one of them type of athletes where his skill set is largely dependent on his athleticism. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Roy Jones Jr. was like one of the greatest fighters ever. But his athleticism was like out of this world, and that was part of why he was so great. And the thing with Russell Westbrook is he doesn't necessarily have a skill set that you would want from a player that's no longer an elite athlete. So when he gets into his 30s, where he's not jumping out the gym anymore, what's Russell Westbrook got to rely on? If he's gonna rely on his shooting, he ain't got a place. He ain't got a place anywhere anymore.
It's not even that great.
Well, I'm gonna be fair to Westbrook in a point. I don't feel like that part of his game is going to diminish much because he's not, when it's just like it's going to probably end up being like the Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade effect. as these guys, especially Dwayne Wade. I think Dwayne Wade would be a perfect example because in reality, they both have the same type of knee injuries. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but neither one of those players have kneecaps. Like they don't have ACLs at all.
Mm-hmm.
And for Russell Westbrook to still be this athletic without, with limitations, I just think that he's going to be less athletic in terms of dunking at the rim, but he's still going to end up being that finisher because around the basket is not much that he can't do. He does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing at the rim and stuff like that, and he's a good free throw shooter for the most part. But it's the whole jump shooter thing, man. Like just to get kind of where you guys are going with. I wouldn't trust his shot with. I think I shoot better than Westbrook. I'll be honest. I think I shoot better than Westbrook.
Yeah, he's not great at shooting. He's not great at shooting.
No, his shooting is terrible, man. He's a terrible shot selector too. He's that guy if you play NBA 2K and you guys are on the park, he's just running up and down the floor, jacking up everything. It's like, bro, why don't you pass me the ball, bro? I'm like, over here.
Russell Westbrook is the perfect when you play in a pickup game and he gets the ball and starts running up court and the whole team is still in the back court yelling at him to slow down and he ain't slowing down. That's who he is. He's like the super YMCA. I'm in it for for myself type player.
Mr. Energy.
Yes.
Right.
Like Russell Westbrook's best utilization is instant energy off the bench. Like if now he makes too much damn money to have that role, but if Russell Westbrook could become like an even more intense version of Jamal Crawford, that would be pretty useful. But I think for him as like a ball dominant, 35 plus minute per game dude, the efficiency just isn't there, man.
Right.
So, like I said, man, Russell Westbrook, man, he's a talented guy, but he's also a guy I do not want to see on my roster of my favorite team.
Who has the better season, the Washington Wizards or the Houston Rockets?
Oh, that's tough, man.
I say Wizards because they're in the East.
I say the Wizards. I'd say the Rockets because they still got James Harden on their roster.
Rockets. They still got Harden. Rockets.
Yeah, but you're in the East though. You're in the East. I'm sorry. If you're in the East, you'll have.
You're in the East with Westbrook, man. Please.
Like, but I'm just saying though. Look at the competition in the East though. Who's going to compete in the East with the Wizards?
Rockets
are in the West.
Rockets.
Or in the
West. Rockets.
Okay, look at the West though. Look at the West. You got the Lakers.
Rockets.
I'm seeing the Golden State Warriors being competitive. I see the Nuggets. I love the Nuggets. The Trailblazers.
Bro, do you know the Rockets were still good even before they had Westbrook on that team? They were still making the playoffs with all those teams you just named. They were still finishing 4 or 5 seed.
As streaky as James Harden is, I'm not reading too much into that.
No,
bro, I'm telling you, man. I think this Rockets trade the Rockets are going to end up winning this trade if John Wall is healthy. If John Wall is healthy, I'm telling you, this is going to be scary.
Well, I'm gonna point out 2 things. Number one, there's going to be hardly any training camp for them to mesh with, and 2, it's going to be a shorter season than last year. So that's a big curve. And second, Washington's in the East.
Yeah, I mean, I get you guys' point to that. I get that point that the East is coming up, and I get it. It's far less competitive in the East, but let's be clear here. The East still has some competition. There's still some room there. You still got the Miami Heat, you still got the Celtics, you still got the Bucks, you still have the Sixers. Who, in my opinion, that's who I think is going to come.
And don't forget the New Jersey Nets too.
Come on, bro!
Brooklyn.
Thank you. Thank you. How do we forget about the Brooklyn Nets? I mean,
yeah.
But like you said, now who's the better team? Houston is the better team, but I think Rockets. I mean, they will have the better season.
Yeah.
Okay.
But neither team is particularly good.
Mm-hmm.
Neither team is particularly good. Neither team is going to do anything about anything this year. Like I said, man, it's.
But who did you have to go? Who would you have to go further though? If we had to put playoffs on the line now, who would you bet to go further in the playoffs?
Who who is this? Who is the second fiddle in Houston now? It's John Wall, right? So
Right.
John Wall and James Harden versus I mean, to be honest with you, it's almost a wash. Like, it's almost a wash, to be honest with you. But I mean, if I had to give the advantage to someone, I had to give it to Houston.
Okay.
Just because you're putting Harden with the facilitator because that's kind of what he needs.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook, he gets a lot of assists, but he ain't exactly. Russell Westbrook is the only dude that averages 10 assists a game and is not really a
10 assists with 8 freaking turnovers.
Yeah, maybe more. Maybe more. And I'm not trying to take away from his game because he's definitely a dog. That's one thing that I admire about him.
Highly exciting to watch.
Yes, I admire that. He has that Mamba mentality. That if the Mamba mentality was alive and present in the league, in this league, Westbrook is definitely the epitome of Mamba mentality. But you don't play Mamba light. You gotta transcend if you're gonna be the Mamba. You gotta transcend if you're gonna be the Mamba. Especially with Kobe Bryant passing away. His legacy is everything. And that's what one thing everybody says about Russell Westbrook. What's the best feature of Westbrook that you love? They love his heart. They love the fact that he goes out there every single day, every game. He gives it his all, 110%. It's just not an impressive 110%. And the only reason we talk about Westbrook in that light is because he has stats, like major stats. He'll have like 47 points or 42 points on like 6 of 47 shooting with like 14 rebounds and like 22 assists or something like that because he's stat pad. He has crazy stats. But he has that quadruple double that you don't want.
Sounds like Dak Prescott to be.
He has like he'll have
calories.
Like 10 plus turnovers with all the rest of the stats.